You've been at the Prime Minister's official spokesperson's briefing. Absolutely no U-turns. An hour later, we speak again. There's going to be a U-turn. It is heavily reported. Bring us up to date.
Gloria, it's hard to emphasise how fast things have moved in the last 60 minutes. Now, at around midday, we were all being told by the Prime Minister's official spokesman that the policy has not changed. Note the has rather than the will not change. Could that have been a clue? Could that have been something? Or are we reading far too much into just words from a spokesperson? Has there genuinely been a decision made or not within Number 10? Because that is one of the unknowns here. It's widely reported now that in the Treasury, civil servants are working up plans to reverse elements of the mini-budget, and yet we're not sure as to whether or not the elected government of this country has agreed to that or not. Clearly options are being explored, but have decisions been taken? That remains an unknown. However, one of the most heavily rumoured elements of this is looking at corporation tax, and this is the most peculiar element of the entire situation, because corporation tax was due to rise from 19p in the pound to 25p in the pound for British businesses. That tax rise was scrapped by the mini-budget. Liz Truss, just yesterday at Prime Minister's Questions, was defending the decision to not raise that tax. The opposition was calling it a tax cut. She was saying, no, we're simply not raising this tax on businesses in the face of a recession. It was one of her key points in the leadership election, her almost flagship policy of differentiation between herself and Rishi Sunak, one of the main reasons perhaps why she got elected by Conservative Party members by a sizable margin back over the summer. And yet now, the widest rumours and the most heavily reported rumours are that that very flagship policy of Liz Truss's leadership election could well be the one to be ditched. Now, that's potentially £19 billion of extra revenue if the government hikes taxes on businesses. However, economists sympathetic to Liz Truss have been saying for quite some time, indeed Liz Truss herself has been saying for quite some time, that raising taxes on businesses in the face of a recession would be an economically mad thing to do. That this is the way that you may well choke off any hope of a recovery, any hope of growth. And Liz Truss has predicated her entire premiership on getting that growth. Well, if she U-turns on this particular flagship policy, it's hard to see how that growth will materialise.
Yeah, Tom, just alert people, the Telegraph is the latest to go with this line. Downing Street working on mini-budget U-turn over corporation tax. That's almost as if it's come from Conservative Central Office, some would say, if it comes from the Telegraph. What are the consequences of this if it does take place? Does this mean the Chancellor's had it?
If this takes place, it's hard to see how the Chancellor, or indeed the Prime Minister, has any authority whatsoever. I should really emphasise that there has been a leadership election, that the Conservative Party membership have overwhelmingly backed Liz Truss, and one of her flagship policies in that leadership election was that cancellation of the corporation tax rise. Now, if Liz Truss feels forced to U-turn on this, it's hard to see how Number 10 has any authority at all. This would be a Prime Minister in office, but not in power. This raises far more questions than it answers on the authority of this government, on this government's, frankly, this government's ability to govern. It's really quite that profound.